Hello.
Hello.
Today, broadcasting from a new PC. And we're not broadcasting, but
Yes.
that's beside the point.
Recording.
Yes.
PC that hurt my ass.
The PC that hurt my brain with just shit that I had to fucking install on it not working.
Welcome to software.
Yeah.
It is a fact that we're still within the first minute, and YouTube is not so happy when we're within the first minute. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I would have said that software.
Dude, the moment we hit that 60 seconds,
Yeah.
your
Software.
socks are gonna get blown off.
Yes. But software in general and dealing with it is just an indicator that,
Why is it there?
like, just dealing with it in general. Hey, we're past the minute mark. Alright, now we get to do it. So every piece of software is a piece of shit. Like every single piece of software.
Yeah, speaking like this one, for some reason it keeps changing it to either this or this screen. It has to be that screen. Like, why?
Yeah, but the thing with software is, right, if you don't have the magic hands, you will suffer.
Yeah,
Like you have to have the magic, you have to have the touch.
pretty much.
If
So,
you do not have the touch, you will suffer from it.
anyway, news. Well, first things first, we have a new pope. We are
Yes.
technically 2 weeks late when this comes out, but we have a new pope. And I'm just gonna say it, I'm slightly disappointed that it wasn't, what was his name again?
Uh,
Pizza Bala or something?
you mean the Dutch guy?
No. That was Ike. No. There was one whose name was like Pizza Bala or Pizza Dalla or something like that. And the reason it would have been funny is because Pope in Italian is Papa, and we could have petitioned to have his Pope name be John, and we would have Papa John Pizza.
Yes. That would be funny. It would make it incredibly funny if we had Papa John pizza. But we sadly don't. We have
Yeah,
Leo the fourth. Is it the 14th?
I think so. Yeah. So, I don't really know anything about him other than that he is
A pope.
American. Yeah. Other than that he's American and that he apparently already like spoke about wanting peace, and apparently that was so important that it was on the front cover of the newspaper. And all I could think was, I'm pretty sure every pope has said that.
Well, the thing is, right? I have actually looked up the Wikipedia of this pope
Oh,
because curiosity,
yes.
and I've learned that it's pretty close to the last one, with also being a little bit more open. But this pope is a little bit stricter towards abortion.
Right. I don't know what
Apart
the
from the,
previous pope thought of that stuff actually.
but apart from that, it's kind of just basically the same as the last one. So as
Well,
soon as we figured out a pope would be American, it kind of was like, this could go two ways. Either the Trump, yes. Well, he did make also Trump also did a picture like he was the Pope,
I know.
but it was basically either he's gonna be far right or he's gonna be more like the old one, and we got the one that's more like the old one.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who are happy with that, are happy with that.
Yeah. So, Um, but yeah, I really don't know anything about this Pope.
And he has a degree in math.
Oh yeah, I did know that. I'm not even sure if that's true, to be honest.
I think it actually, yeah, he does have a degree in math, and he's from Chicago.
I did know that.
We have the Pope from Chicago.
Yes. Maybe he can make an appearance on that YouTube channel, Chicago Reacts. We can have the Pope react to Maxor's Bloodborne video.
Or we let the Pope do his Pope duties, because the Pope needs to do his duties.
What duties?
Being important.
True.
I
Anyway.
don't actually know what a Pope does.
Well, bring the message of God.
What are some popular... See what I did there with
Yeah, I'm just waiting for you to continue your fucking question.
Well, once it was some popular, like, Pope jobs or things popes want to do.
Talk about wanting peace. And then start the Crusades.
That was history. That was pretty far in history, though, so...
True, but it happened.
I guess it did.
And it was to make peace.
So to make peace, they started war.
I think all of them also failed, but...
Yeah, so you failed on... The Crusades failed to make peace. Because they kept making war and more war and more war and more war.
Maybe, yeah.
And if you do that, you're gonna suffer.
Yeah, well...
Because, of course. Who doesn't think of peace when it comes to getting murdered?
Well, but they already believe that Earth is suffering, right?
So they're like, Earth is suffering anyway. Why not make them suffer a little more? Or convert them to our religion, so... Yeah.
Yeah, did you know historical Dracula was a part of the... Actually, okay, I don't know if he was in the Crusades, but he definitely supported that. Like, he... But...
That is a good thing to say when being a visual thinker.
What, are you just envisioning a vampire in, like, a paladin?
Vampire within the Crusade.
No, but it's actually true. Like, the historical Dracula, like, Vlad the Third, he fought against the Turks, and he literally has stated, like, what was the quote again? I don't remember the exact quote, but, like, I will take out these enemies of God. Which is just really funny that he became a vampire that, you know, can't enter churches and things.
Imagine that, being banned from your own religion.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool because I have the Dracula graphic novel that I backed on Kickstarter like last year. And I'll get part 2 as well. I think part 2 is actually still running on Kickstarter, but I'm just gonna order that one normally. But and it's basically, it's in between the Dracula, like the fictional Dracula, right, like the Bram Stoker's Dracula, and the historical one. It's what happened in between. And so it's really cool because it ends at the battlefield where the original, like where the real version actually died. But instead here he fakes his death and then goes to like look for power to take revenge.
As one does.
Yeah, that's how he becomes a vampire, because he goes to like Satan for more power.
He's like, one more power, please.
No, Satan's just like, hey, you can stay here for a couple years in my library and learn things.
So that's why some Christians are so against schools.
And the first thing he does is start studying Satan for if he has to kill him. It didn't work.
Which arguably is kind of smart to do.
Yeah, it's. I just thought it was so fitting for him, but it didn't work. You can't kill the devil.
But it is a smart decision, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. One cool
You
detail
know,
is he wasn't the only student. There were like a couple others, and they were all from like different cultures, and they all described how they saw the devil when they were all in the same room, but they all saw something else. And they described like one. I think one described like Shiva, and then another like a Viking guy described like I think Loki, and like an African person described like a giant snake.
so each person sees differently.
Yes, it's a cool
That is
book.
interesting.
Like it's a cool book. But anyway, back to the Pope, I guess.
Well, I think we pretty much ran out of
Yeah,
Pope stuff.
I don't really know what else we would talk about with the Pope.
Apart from the fact that he doesn't like Trump and
Wait,
JD
really?
Vance.
Really?
Yeah, he actually spoke up about that
Joe,
specific
it's
thing.
time to become religious.
And I have already seen an image from Twitter. Was a message calling the Pope woke.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
I do have to say, pretty funny.
Yes.
But like a woke Pope, how do you do that? Like, what is it gonna do?
uh,
Is it gonna dye his hair blue now?
what you mean? What's left of it?
Yeah, exactly. What's left of it will be blue.
I would assume not, but it would be very funny.
A blue-haired Pope.
Pope Smurf the First.
So then he does need a big. Then he does still need a red hat. You know.
The Pope has a red hat, right? Wait, no, that's just the Cardinals. The Cardinals all have red hats.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
So all he needs is a red hat, and you're fine. You have Papa Smurf.
Papa Smurf.
Papa Smurf.
Oh, dude, it could have been Papa John Pizza Smurf.
We could have had so much more.
Papa John Pizza Smurf, then.
The how much?
Well, there were a lot of John, like popes.
It would probably be the first because they're.
If you include the
If
Smurf
it's
part,
John,
then yes.
then it probably isn't. But if it's
No, there are a lot of. I mean, the first was John. Wait, no, the first was Paul.
the first was
Or was the first John?
the first Paul.
I think the first pope was Paul. Right? It was one of the disciples, but there was a John and a Paul.
And they didn't combine those.
John Paul.
They just make a John Paul.
So we should go to a different topic before we offend people.
We mean no foul things with this.
No.
We're just too idiot. We're not experts.
No. No, we are not. I do have the Bible right in front of me right now.
Yeah, and I'm not religious at all.
Me neither.
I'm not the right person for that.
I'm not religious. I'm just greatly interested to the point that it may be considered an obsession.
Isn't being religious in general sort of an obsession?
For some people, depends.
Depends on how religious you are, I guess. Like some people are really, really, really religious and just
Yeah, but then it also usually becomes a problem.
depends.
Well,
Right?
if it goes into the territory where they just start justifying everything and like in the name of God.
Yeah, then it becomes bad. Like if they start pushing it upon others, then it becomes bad. But if they
But
keep it to themselves,
there's this great scene in Berserk where Shirka, she's a witch, and she uses her magic to protect the town. And the whole time, this priest is like, no, we don't want your protection because that is not a godly power. We want to be protected by God. And when he says he, that's only him. All the others just accept it. But regardless, he eventually goes to her to try and stop her. And then, she helps the village, like she saves everybody. As he turns around and she's like, the powers I just called on are the 4 angels of your god that are in your scriptures. And she says like, God's name, it belongs only to God. It is not for man to be wielded or something like that. And like, of course, it's technically not Christianity because it's Berserk, but it's pretty heavily inspired by Christianity, that part. And I just thought it was such a good line.
well, that is actually a decent line, and often, like that's what I've noticed, especially within the U.S. If you look at religion, like a lot of like some people, they say they are religious,
Yeah.
but what they follow doesn't connect with what religion they say they're following,
Yeah.
which is kind of to me, it's just the same as
Well,
not being religious at all.
well, but that's complicated though, because you have like multiple sort of branches of every single religion.
Yeah, but if
Like, for
you're
instance,
starting to do what's opposed to of your specific branch, like let's say you're
yeah, okay.
Christian and you're starting to go directly against what's in the Bible,
Yeah, but,
but saying it's in within the Bible
yeah,
just because you want it to be that way. Those people do
yes,
exist, especially in the US.
yes.
And those people are
That
just
is true. Like how in Catholicism they at some point were like, "Hey, you can now pay and go to heaven." I was like, "No,
you all.
no, you cannot."
Yeah, that started, especially in the Netherlands, that started an entire war,
Yes,
basically.
yes, we started to speak out against that, and with we I mean this one dude who just like nailed it to the church and then left.
Was it Martin Luther?
Yes,
Yeah. Like, that's where history lessons come in,
yes,
where you've learned about history.
but the thing is though that it kind of depends on how you want to look at this, right? Because some things can just be interpreted differently. And also,
Yeah.
if you were taught by someone else that that's what it said, then like,
Yeah, then it's just normal
that
ignorance.
that's why I have a study Bible, because I want to have as much context to everything as possible, you know. Also, because then I can start correcting religious people, and I think that would be very funny.
You just want to correct religious people.
No, not just that. I'm genuinely really interested in it. But I do think it would be funny to just know more than the average Christian. But
That would indeed be kind of funny. When you
yeah.
can start lecturing Christians on their
Think I
own
could be
faiths.
hired as a priest?
Um,
Probably not. I don't mean I wouldn't want to either, but
yeah,
but
because that would mean interacting with people.
what was I gonna say again? Right, like for instance, in America, Mormonism is pretty big. I'm pretty sure, at least in some areas there. I know it's pretty big. And Mormonism is by a lot of other Christians just seen as like an entirely different religion. Uh, because like the main difference between the Mormons, or as I think the official term is the Holy Saints. Wait, what was it
Now
again?
the thinking happens.
Yes, the the something of the Latter Day Saints, the Witnesses of the Latter Day Saints. I think.
Yeah.
Whatever. They believe in the Book of Mormon, so people call them Mormons.
That makes sense.
The main difference, as far as I know, is that they believe that the Trinity, so Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, are three separate entities, whereas normally they are seen as one, right?
Yeah.
And so some people feel that that's a completely different religion. But then simultaneously, they actually have some things that are closer to how the Bible says it should be than all the other ones. Like how they have a prophet as like a church leader. So it's a complicated thing.
It's religion. Religion always gets complicated.
Yes.
And it's slightly annoying sometimes, but also makes sense.
Yeah.
Because as you previously stated, things can be interpreted differently.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be like
Especially now, because
it's
language changes.
a lot. Yeah.
I mean, that I don't just mean like, oh, it's in a language that we don't use anymore. I mean like literally the way we use our words can change.
Yes.
Like when in the Bible when they say to know someone, that usually means in a sexual context. Like when there's like somebody who is described like a girl as like she doesn't know any man. That doesn't mean that she literally doesn't know any man. That means she hasn't went to bed with anyone.
Hmm.
Or like how in the Epic of Gilgamesh, is it the epic or legend? I think the epic, right? Uh,
I have no idea.
they at near the beginning, it stated how he has sex with an axe, which sounds very weird. And the reason for that is because originally, in the, in the original language that it's in, their word for axe is very similar to their word for a prostitute. So it's like wordplay
Ah,
and things like
kind
that.
of
Just
blurred
complicate
up.
complicate history and like legends and myth.
It requires context,
Yes.
which it often doesn't have.
In a modern context,
No, like you
no.
have to find the context of the time
Yeah, exactly.
because, as you said, slept with an axe.
Yeah.
That could, like, hmm, how would you do that? That's pretty sharp. But if you know that he's a prostitute, then yes, then it makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of this double
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
where you have to know the context of the situation.
Yeah.
And I think that's often forgotten once it reaches the masses. If you're
Yes.
with if you're with historians, they know to look for it within the context of the time. But if you go to general population, they often have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And that means that things get lost in translation.
Yes.
And what if you rewrite your story? What if you rewrite you or translate your Bible?
Mm-hmm.
You know what then? Then you end up with a rewritten Bible, basically,
Yeah.
entirely in within the wishes of the ones that are translating it.
Yes.
Which makes me wonder if there even is still a one-to-one translation of the Bible.
Yes, but the thing is that different words, like some words, can have multiple meaning.
Yeah, so I guess that's also pretty good reason to have a study Bible.
Yes. Exactly.
It's almost as if it has little words entire. It is almost as if learning is important.
Yes, but the thing is that it's a lot. Like even without the whole study bit, the Bible is a lot. So you can't really blame people for not having the time for that. And
Yeah, you can't
like
live for not having
and you might
time, but
say
you
like, oh,
blame.
but if you're religious, shouldn't you know this stuff? But to be fair, I don't know all the calculations for like the Big Bang Theory and all that.
Yeah, I guess it's within your interests. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're very interested in religion, as you are, then you are more likely to go and actually study it than somebody who just has surface level knowledge.
Yeah.
And
Like
there is actually there's pretty much a peak within knowledge where and confidence. If you put those against
yeah,
each
yeah.
other,
Yeah.
there is a bit where you have little knowledge. Like
Yeah.
you only have a small amount, but you feel very confident in said knowledge.
Yes.
And that's pretty, yeah.
A little knowledge is dangerous.
Yes, I was listening to music a bit loud right now.
Is it? No. Looking at OBS, I don't think it is.
For me, it kind of is, but it could just be Discord messing up.
Uh, well, you're probably getting the music through to my Discord stream.
Oh yeah, I should probably mute that. Yeah, I do. And Discord is being very annoying. Oh, I know why. There we go. Yeah.
But and actually, it was actually Yoran who brought that up to me, where because he actually mentioned at some point that I probably already know more about the Bible than a lot of Christians, and I was just like, well, wouldn't they all read it? Like, wouldn't they all know this stuff? And he was like, well, do you know everything about, you know, about the Big Bang? And I was like, actually, yeah, you're kind of right.
Not really. It's all knowledge that you have to gain and you have to put effort into it.
Yeah.
And not everybody is willing to put that effort in.
And I would rather read stories about this great being creating the world than read calculations.
Yes. And that brings me to a good point, actually, that I just thought of. Isn't it kind of weird that people argue so much about how the world was created?
Is it? I don't think so. I think it makes sense to want to know where things came from.
Yeah, I can understand that as well. You want to know the origin of everything. But, like, congratulations, you know where it started. did it change what's happening now? Not at all. Not in the
No,
slightest.
but it can provide a reason to exist. Like, religion is getting more popular nowadays because the internet kind of spreads a lot of bad news and brings a lot of negative energy.
Yeah.
And because of that, people want to feel connected and they want to, they want to have a reason to exist. And so they actually, more and more people are actually turning back to religion.
I guess that is. It could also be seen as an easy way out.
I guess, but if it keeps you from having a depression.
Then that is a better thing indeed. But there's also it's also a little bit double-edged because going to religion, if you completely go to religion and ignore all common sense, like the worse things get, the more people look at religion for a solution.
Yes, I don't think religion is not common sense, though.
Well, I think those two are like I think there is a difference within the two. Like yes, religion can be common sense. Like don't steal.
That's not really. I mean, it's in the Bible, but that's not really a religious.
The general thing of just don't be a dick. You know, that. Like be
Yeah,
nice to each other.
yeah.
That bit of common sense. But there are some things that are kind of throwing every little bit of common sense just away.
Are there, though? Depends on how you look at it.
It depends on how you see your
Because,
logic.
because, yeah, some of the things that happen in the Bible are actually, like, really weird. Like how a man, like, talks to his donkey. And I should phrase that differently. I mean the donkey talks back. Like the donkey talks to him.
Ah, yeah, that's a little bit weird.
Yes.
So
But
in the time that could be explained by some form of either schizophrenia,
yes.
paranoia,
Yes, yeah,
things
but
like
if
that.
you look at it from now, right? That sounds really weird, but if you believe that a god made the world, then why would he not be able to communicate through an animal?
I guess that makes some sense, yeah.
So I think there is like it I don't think that is not necessarily common sense. Like
Once again, it's context.
yeah. Like to us it's weird.
It's context and belief
Yeah.
that are kind of combining.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of need both. And a lot of people only have one. And that is the belief part. They don't really have the context.
Yeah.
And that's what messes them up and what kind of gets religion to be kind of this confusing, almost mess.
Sometimes, yeah.
This mess that is then dividing people.
Yeah. I don't
Because
know.
that's
People
also
find reasons to fight over everything, to be fair.
yeah. Like I know that. That's why wars exist, but still.
Like people go to war because they want power. That's all it is.
Pretty much, yeah.
And by people I should say leaders, because I would never hold the soldiers accountable for a war.
Yeah. That is actually a good point. In a war, do you hold the soldiers or the
No,
leaders accountable?
the leader, because they sent them. Often the soldiers don't even know. If you look at like interviews with German soldiers from the time, from Second World War, they were all like, we didn't know. We were just made to believe, like, hey, they are attacking us. You gotta defend your country.
Even better yet, what about the Ukraine invasion?
Yeah,
Like, those soldiers also they thought they were going for a training mission.
Well, what about
They were
the
told
soldiers that he got from, like, where is that?
North Korea.
Well, them, but earlier, in like the east of Russia, like they didn't know about the war at all there. So then, Putin just went there and was like, "Hey, we are being attacked."
Yeah, but also the fucked up thing still with the whole Ukraine invasion is kind of this kind of the fact they are so close to each other and so kind of interlinked with each other that there probably has been the case where a soldier gets sent into war. He literally or he gets into a training mission. Just thinks I'm just gonna be training operation. We're gonna be in and out, done. And all of a sudden he comes face to face with, let's say, his grandparents. He's told to shoot them. Like, that's gonna pretty much be a conflict within that soldier.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get the question of, is he actually gonna do it, or is he gonna back off, think this is not what's supposed to be happening?
So, one of my favorite series, perhaps my favorite depending on my mood, is Violet Evergarden. I have it on DVD, that's how much I love it. I actually got Yoran to watch it with me as well.
Nice.
And it is... You have the series and you have, like, the two movies that came after. But, they are, like, one story, right?
Yeah.
And you can watch the series on its own that has a very satisfying ending, and then one of the other movies, like, really brings it to a conclusion.
Yeah.
And what it's about, it is a girl who is 14 years old at the start of the show.
Yeah.
And who comes back from war. And she was raised in that war, she was used as a weapon in that war, and she knows nothing else. To the point that, like, now the war is over, it ends with the ending of, or it starts with the ending of the war. And then it's like, well, you gotta live a normal life now. And she doesn't know how. But she also doesn't actually realize what she has even done. And eventually she realizes that, she killed people. And what that means. And it's the whole thing is about, like, is she accountable for that?
Basically, are you accountable if you didn't know any better?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you were never shown the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the other option that there is.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still accountable?
Mm-hmm. Like, at some point she nearly commits suicide out of grief. Like, it's pretty heartbreaking.
That does sound pretty heartbreaking indeed, yeah. I guess that's just after a realization of what she has been doing.
That and a little bit more. I hate to spoil it, but I mean, it's not a new show. Go watch Violet Evergarden. But there's a moment where she becomes she has to live a normal life again, and she becomes an auto memory doll. That is what the whole show is about, is that she is an auto memories doll, which is a job where you write letters for people who can't do it themselves, right? Either because they're illiterate or because they just don't know how to write or whatever. And so she starts doing that. Um, Her reason for that is because she wants to know what I love you means, because someone said that to her, but she doesn't know what that is. And eventually she is sent to help a, what do you call that? A writer, but for like, well, I guess, yeah, it is a writer, but for stage plays to write a script. And there he talks about, like, he eventually talks to her about his daughter because she reminds him of his daughter who died when she was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
And he mentions that the girl at some point was like, I promise to show you one day. And then she died. And so she never got to show her thing. And then on the way back, Violet realizes, how many one days have I taken from people? And then when she gets back, she gets a second sort of slap in the face when she hears confirmation that the person that said I love you and the person that she wants to return is dead.
And then that hits extra hard, of course.
Yes, because like the people around her knew, but they knew how dependent she was on him, and so they didn't dare to tell her. Like, they knew they had to tell her at some point, but they just couldn't, bring themselves to. So she also kind of felt betrayed because of that.
Yeah, withholding that kind of information is not the best for a person.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they later find out that the information was actually withheld from them.
Yeah.
Because if you learn about it just later, like, oh no, I've only learned about this now and it's been a while, then that makes a little bit of sense still.
Yeah.
But if you then come and learn the fact that it has actually like the information was known more globally for a while, then that hurts.
Well, globally, not the word.
Well, if it's known to more people, that kind
Yeah.
of messes with you a little bit, a lot.
Yeah.
Just. How long have we? We've been going for 43 minutes, and all we talked about is Pope, religion, and more trauma.
Bore.
Yes. War.
I don't.
Count as more
Did,
trauma because.
did anything else happen?
Apart from you getting a new PC, my ass still hurting because I'm on a different stool because we are still in the process of selling our house and we have viewers over, which means I have to change my chair because apparently my gaming chair is too big for the room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I have to get a new. So I'm now on this kind of like stool, which is painful on the ass. Like, I have to basically wiggle around almost the entire time just so I'm at least a little comfortable.
Great.
Yeah. It also doesn't sit relaxed. Like, usually you're able to, like, relax a little bit when you're sitting down. This does not sit relaxed at all. And that is... You only miss the comfort when you don't have it anymore.
True.
Just like heated seats in a car.
Wait, what?
Like if you're not used to it, you're not missing them at all. Like I've gotten used to them. So, but then I have to basically unlearn that because, well, not all cars have them.
True.
once you've learned of that comfort and you got used to it, it takes a while to get used to less comfort. And I'm really facing that one right now.
Well, then, get used to it.
Well, I only have to get used to it till tomorrow because tomorrow the last viewers, and then after that I can put my chair back into my room.
Oh, so we won't see you streaming in the stool.
No, because then I won't be able to hold on to it for long. Like even during this podcast, I had to stand up once. Yeah. Comfort levels are pretty low.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to put up with it. We also might finally have a space to move into.
Oh, that's nice.
It is going to be a little bit smaller, but my room will get bigger.
So
I will have more space to do more stuff. Which means I might also have space to finally get more sim racing equipment. Just get more, like maybe fit the train seats in my room.
no.
Because I'm gonna hear this month when I have to pick them up. And it's hoping it's gonna be when I'm in London or when I'm at TwitchCon. Because then it's gonna suck. So I'm gonna have to pick those up. And, well, if I'm unable to pick them up, I'm gonna have to get them delivered. And that's gonna be expensive. Like, it's gonna be $120 just to get it delivered to me.
Great. So, any more news? I don't
really want to do that. I'd much rather pick it up myself.
Wait, do we have any more news?
I could look at the news, but I'm currently playing War Thunder, so I don't... Well, I'm dead now.
Well, that fixed the problem.
Oh, yeah. Trump apparently got a new plane.
Oh, I did hear about that.
Which...
But there is positive news in that.
What?
Because it was a present from Qatar, I think?
Yeah, I'm not... A present.
What do you mean?
Are you sure it's not something like a bribe?
Yeah.
Like, you can tell I'm really skeptical of this one.
But he has stated that he wants to use this plane as, you know, his, like, official, like, presidential plane or whatever, right?
Force One instead of the,
But he also said that he would like to continue using it after he's, you know, after he's not a president anymore. Which is confirmation that he doesn't plan to be president forever.
Or it's gonna be like, oh, when I'm dead, I'm not gonna have any use for that plane anymore. Because the Middle East is not really known for its, well, kindness. Well, possibly, but in general, the Middle East is more of a business place. You know,
Yeah.
oil.
Yeah, I know.
And human rights violations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that supermarket that advertised or made an advertise and during like there was like the whole soccer tournament stuff, right?
Yeah.
Where people died building that,
Oh yeah,
the
that
thing,
had
the arena.
like they built an entire stadium for that, and
Yeah,
the in
yeah.
it because of the poor conditions.
During
Because guess
that,
what?
yeah,
Give workers proper conditions, and they
yes,
will survive.
yes. But during that, there was a Dutch supermarket, and I won't name it, but uh,
What color?
it yellow,
Ah,
and it ends in umbo. But but they made an advertisement for the store that was like a bunch of like construction workers singing and being happy and like you know building something, and it was during this controversy, and I'm pretty sure they even sang about like the upcoming soccer tournament. And people
yeah.
were like, you can't do that, mate.
They were like, wrong move.
So then they
Push.
and then they got rid of the ad after like not even a week.
Yeah, they pulled it rather quickly.
Yeah. Oh, actually, another controversial ad, and this one was just really funny to me. It was actually kind of recent. A Dutch store that always advertises that they have like discounts.
Yeah.
Also yellow and red. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They advertised that something that had they had a discount on was it was like soap for like washing, like for for your clothing,
Yeah.
like a cleaning product. And the reason it had discount was for Mother's Day.
Yes. Let's do.
And so then people were like, "Oh, that's like sexist. That
That's
is
cleaning products
that is sexist.
for
That is
mothers.
a gender, what do you call it?
That
Gender
is.
roles and that sort of stuff."
Yeah.
Um and then so they well, they didn't pull it completely, but they didn't advertise it like that anymore. But then the boss made a statement. He made an apology, like, right, he excused for the thing.
Yeah.
And the apology, I'm gonna have you guess what he said.
Probably that they made a slight and wrong decision and won't do it again.
No.
Oh boy.
No.
Oh no.
He apologized that it what do you call it? That it came off that way, right?
Yeah.
And then he said that the intention was that fathers and children would also buy the cleaning products for the mother so the mother could continue washing.
So he tried to correct himself.
He made it so much worse.
And then overcorrected a lot to the point where he basically just
He made it worse.
went off the rails. Huh.
Yeah.
That seems to be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah. Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Alright. Do we have anything else to talk about? Because I
Do have
will...
something.
Okay, because I will say I do kind of have a headache and I would like to go to bed soon.
Well, good luck, because I have something to talk about,
Okay.
and that is, here in the Netherlands, like most people will only see one type of train company.
Right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the NS. That is just the biggest one we have here. But there are a couple of small. There's like one or two smaller ones operating towards the east,
Yes.
and one of them is sort of renewing their trains because they've changed name and they wanted to, you know, rebrand their trains. And also, probably, and I think they're also ordering new ones. But they now have a shortage of trains. So what's their solution?
Buses.
No,
The old
go
trains.
to go to like, I don't know. I'm not sure how you call it. Hold on. Let me quickly look up Google Translate. Hold on. Like a train foundation sort of thing that runs old trains.
Oh no.
And and now they are running a train from the 60s
Oh no.
for probably 2 years.
Oh.
And the thing is, it only goes from like the center of the country to towards the east, and it's only in the morning, like early in the morning, you know?
Yeah.
So guess who was on a train at 6:15 in the morning to go towards the station where it could catch the last time that day that that train went. It's not a long train. It's a pretty short one. Only two parts. So just two fronts smacked together to create a multiple unit train. And it's surprisingly comfortable. Like, even though the train is 80 years old at this point, which is weird to say from like a train from the 60s that's 80 years old. Is it 80 years old? No, 60 years old. Never mind, I'm just stupid. Like a 60-year-old train is still pretty much the same, if not better, than the new trains that are coming out. At some point, when we were back at the station we started at, because we went with it one way and then went back when it went the other way, and they were saying that benches, like actual benches instead of just seats, should return to trains because it allows for people to sit however they want. Like, you could sit a little bit wider, you could sit at an angle. It's a lot more comfortable if to sit differently. And it allows technically for more people to sit next to each other. Like, if it gets cramped, or especially if you have small children, because those children want their own seat, of course. They don't want to share their seat, they want their own. But if you have a bench, you can just take up one bench, which is usually two people, children next to each other, or one on each side of the parent, and the parent in the middle. That solves that problem. Or if it gets incredibly busy, you can probably cram three adults next to each other.
Right.
Or if you're with a partner and you want to cuddle a little bit while on the train.
Sure, you are not selling this train on me right now.
Oh yeah, you don't have a partner.
I just got
I mean, me
traumatic.
neither.
I just got traumatic flashbacks.
Why?
Because I already shared a bed with you.
Yeah. That's when I was sleeping. If I'm awake, I can sit normally.
For context for the
around.
people, he fucked up a hotel booking.
Yes.
And so we had to then share a bed.
And apparently I just moved around.
Yeah! And I don't think I slept even an hour that night.
I like how your mic just popped out.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you slowly got closer throughout the night.
cue the Jaws music.
Oh my god.
Just slowly inch closer.
Oh my god.
You could have just woken me up.
I didn't want to, that felt rude.
Wait, are you not sleeping?
No.
But yeah, benches in trains should just return because the newest train that is still in development, from the looks of it, is going to be a lot worse.
Oh great.
Like from a train company that's already a little bit like generally train companies in the Netherlands are sort of struggling because they're getting less funding from the government. So they have to make tickets more expensive. Then less people are going to go
Yeah.
by train because the train is bloody expensive, so we're not taking that. Car's cheaper.
Yeah.
So you're going to take the car. Less people take public transit. Tickets have to become more expensive to compensate for the lack of customers. So now you're going to get less customers because tickets are getting more expensive because there are less customers. So there are less customers because tickets are more expensive, and then you end up in a cycle or more of a downward spiral. And if you add uncomfortable trains to the mix, people aren't going to be happy. Like that's just what's going to happen is, well, even less people are going to go by train now because it's uncomfortable. So it is more comfortable and cheaper to go by car or, taxi or a shared car service or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which, once I'm 21, which will be by the end of this year, I can actually get I can actually use My Wheels, which is a service where you can, you sometimes see those cars just parked.
Yeah.
You can just rent you can just take them, you rent them, you open them up, and then you just drive them, pay for the kilometers that it's done and the time that you've spent, and then boom, you return the car, and everything is perfectly fine again. Or not, you turn around and just park the car somewhere, and somebody else who's doing that will do it as well. And then the car ends up everywhere. And if you do enough cars, they just spread throughout the entire country.
Yeah.
But I cannot do that yet because I'm not 21 yet. Barely though. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to quickly either buy a car, which I do have my eye on multiple cars because I am just like that. That I have that I'm eyeing up multiple cars at the same time. Because why not? I mean, if I'm gonna have a job, I'm probably gonna have to either bike for half an hour or 15 minutes. Which 15 minutes is still very much a good thing to bike. But it's gonna be longer. Like if it goes above half an hour, I'm gonna be more tempted to buy a car.
Mm-hmm.
Because biking a long distance is just painful to do. While driving a car is pretty easy.
Yes.
You just drive the car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I change sort of the resolution of a screen?
Yeah, you just go into settings. You go to your system display, you go onto the monitors, you go and... Wait, how do you... Go to the settings of a singular display again?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, technically it's two, because it's for my tablet and
advanced display.
advanced
I
display.
guess. Wait, it should. Is it with
Well,
within
I
graphics?
do see a display resolution, but I think that's for all of them, and I only need to do it for.
Shouldn't it be like 1920 by 1080?
Yeah, that's what it is right now. But so you can see my Krita, right?
Yeah.
And my, I mean, it's not as obvious on that screen, but my sort of UI is bigger than it was on my laptop, and I would like it to be a bit smaller.
Maybe because your screen is bigger.
Yeah. Well, my screen is bigger, but if I go to the settings here, if I move them up here, uh, oh, now it gets big. It was smaller before. It was like cramping things. But I would,
Also, I'm standing again because yes.
but still, I would like it to be slightly smaller if that is possible.
I have no idea how to do that.
Well, then I'll figure it out later.
Oh. Also, I did clean up my laptop a bit today because if you have people looking at your house to see if they want to buy it, you have to leave.
Yes.
Like, you have to be gone from the house.
Yeah, I know.
So, I was in the library, kind of cleaning up my laptop. Actually, I should still plug the USB stick that I put files on onto into my computer so I can actually
You could have
put the
come
files on.
over. I mean, it wouldn't have been home, but
It's only in the morning.
oh,
Like we could go back at 11. Like from I think 8:30 to 11, we had to be out of the house.
imagine you freaking go to check a house and you just walk into the people having breakfast.
Yeah, but you have to also basically like if you're going to sell a house in the Netherlands, like somebody will first come by to take the pictures because you know,
Mm.
and you have to make your house as clean as humanly possible. Remove as many objects as possible. Because the less objects there are in the house, the more spacious it looks, the better it becomes.
Yes.
One problem though,
Oh, that worked pretty well.
let's say you have like you have viewers over 3 days in a row. We had people over yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Then you're kind of having to live like you're not living in your own house. Like everything you do has to be cleaned up by the next day. You're almost hotel room service. Like if you stay in a hotel multiple days, and they kind
Mm-hmm.
of clean it up, they clean your room up and done. Yeah, you kind of have to you kind of have to do that yourself. Like every little bit of every mess you make has to be cleaned up. You even have to take out the trash every morning because you don't leave any trash in any trash cans. So, oh, you had dinner. Well, it better be in the dishwasher, and everything that you've used is in the trash and taken out. So you're technically not really living in your own house anymore. You're just kind of annoying. But
Yeah.
after today it is done, I will probably have a new place anyway. So my room is gonna get bigger. I'm gonna have more time to do more space to do stuff. Possibly, if I have the space for it, of course, get a racing sim rig in there so I can do sim racing while having things actually properly spaced instead of having it stuck on my desk. So I have more desk space to do dumb projects, like figuring out how signal lamps, because signal lamps, they are kind of annoying. They have 8 pins,
Hmm.
and they when trying to get them undone, I found out that apparently 5.5, like you have a 10 millimeter bolt, like you have to use like a 10 millimeter socket.
Yeah.
Apparently, all like you have because like 9, 8. I think you have 7 as well. You have 6. You have 5. But there's between 6 and 5 is 5.5. I did not realize 5.5 existed until recently. Because why would you need a 5.5? So yeah, now need. So now I'm bidding at an auction. I found tools. So I'm gonna be bidding on those. I'm actually bidding. I have a total of 4 of them that I'm bidding on. And if I'm wait, Jim, are you available at some point later this? Wait, no, I just realized something. Oh boy,
What?
I'm gonna have to pick them up
Yeah.
while I'm in London. Oh no, wait, that's the closing time. Never mind. It closes on the 19th, and I'm in London at that time. But picking it up is when is the picking up? Yeah, I'll specify the date once we've wrapped this episode up because I'm not willing to give that information up.
Why not?
About your whether you want to know when you. Well, I mean, it's not like a lot of people are watching this anyway, so.
No, we should probably wrap it up anyway.
Do you have a wrap with you?
Um.
So you can wrap it up? Maybe some vegetables, some meat, and also like tinfoil to put around the wrap, so the wrap is properly wrapped. To make sure that it doesn't leak out. Yeah, I should probably see if there's. Like, I could have sworn I wrote some stuff down, but I've lost that paper because I've been cleaning up so much.
There you go. I put this episode on a wrap. Yeah. Wait, you can't even read it. You can barely read it on the monitor in the office. But I think we should end it.
Yeah.
I think we have run out of content.
Well,
again.
Apart from. Oh, yeah, there was. Well, one more thing. There was a marathon here in the Netherlands.
Oh.
During the heat. Like yesterday. But one of them was almost at the finish line. Then got unwell. And we tried to resuscitate him again, but it didn't work, so he passed. So one of the contestants passed away.
Oh.
Pretty close to the end. So they finished before they could finish.
Well.
And then they canceled like the 5 and a 10 kilometer as well.
Uh-huh.
And that's. I mean, like on the news app, they even have like the symptoms of heat stroke. Which is basically saying that it happens, that your body heats up when actually, doing something. If you exercise, your body temperature will go up. Big reveal. That's maybe why you sweat when you start to exercise. It's your body trying to regulate its own temperature.
Mm-hmm.
But you basically, if your body temperature is reaches above 40 like 40 Celsius, which I'm not gonna translate to Fahrenheit because no, basically gonna increase heart rate, increase blood pressure, and problems with breathing, and that can lead to a heat stroke. And then they tell you what you can do against it, and that is training in heat, wearing like breathable clothing, and drinking a lot of water. So they're basically saying is don't go running around untrained in thick clothing and not drink water. Just it's basically just saying try to stay cool or train your body to get used to those higher temperatures.
I mean, yeah. Wait.
What?
Where is my forward arrow?
Forward arrow?
Yeah, you have like Control Z and then you have... I think it's Control Y, but usually I just click the arrow because I don't have a hotkey set for why I have Control Y on my keyboard, but not on my tablet.
Yeah, that's the thing with PC when getting a new PC. The first little bit is going to be weird, and only after you've been busy with it a little bit and you start to use every program again, only then do you realize that everything needs to be reset. Like you're gonna be in your settings a lot, or just
Toolbars.
to worse settings. It's kind of a double-edged thing because yeah, of course you want a new PC that is better, but then you're also gonna have to deal with the consequences of having to redo all your settings, get all your standard files and paths set up again. That is a thing. And after that, after you get everything set up, it basically becomes a lot easier. Like now I know from experience that having a good desktop is a lot nicer than having a decent laptop, because for some reason they think that some people think having a laptop is the best solution instead of a desktop, because a desktop is big and lumpy and, you know, takes up space and isn't portable. But laptops tend to overheat a lot quicker because they don't have the space to empty to dump their heat. They heat up, have to start a thermal throttle, which it basically means your CPU, your processor, starts to slow down to prevent itself from breaking. Like that's what it has to do. It has to prevent itself from actually damaging itself. But with a desktop, all that heat can be pushed out.
There we go.
A lot of meshes. It also, a laptop has 1 or 2 fans. Well, a desktop has like can have up to like 7.
Yeah.
If not more, depending on the case.
Mm-hmm.
I think yours can handle 11 fans in total.
Probably.
Like you still have the space for 3 more fans that you don't use. But mine does not have that. Mine is space for 7 fans, and I'm using all of those spaces as well. Like I have all my fan space in use, which is good because that means that my room will become hotter, but my PC will remain cool. It's the trade-off. Your room becomes an oven,
Yes.
but your PC will not overheat.
What?
What?
Why did that open an application? What even is this application? What is this?
I think that's AMD related software. Yeah, that's AMD.
Oh, this is that. That's a problem.
Why?
Because I pressed Ctrl Shift G, which is the hotkey to group, but make it a vector layer. And I kind of need that, so
Well, you're gonna have to change one of the commands, I guess.
I'm gonna change the one for this one. Why would I need a hotkey to enable a fucking app? Like,
well, because it is a performance-related thing by the looks of it.
yeah, it's it's like NVIDIA, but for this.
Yeah. And sometimes people like to switch between those. Or I don't know why. Reasons.
So where do I find the hotkeys for this? Yeah, that's for later. We're gonna end. We're gonna end it here.
We're gonna once again wrap it up.
Yes.
So that does leave one thing to say.
Yes.
We're not experts.
But we were here.